Okay, here we're in Power Buy, and this is actually in the Central Eastville Mall. This is December 23rd, 2022, and we're in Bangkok, Thailand. And actually what we're in is we're in the air conditioning section. Of course, it borders the fans and the vacuum cleaners, but we see a wall full of air conditioning units. One thing that is missing, though, is a heat pump. No, they don't have heat pumps here, strictly air conditioning. These are ductless split units. This is the inside evaporator unit. The outdoor condensing unit and compressor are on the other side of the wall, and the price that you see obviously in baht, about 34 baht to the dollar. Okay, and so that price you see in baht for the air conditioning unit actually includes installation, and these guys, they're pretty involved. I mean, they're expecting it could very well be a second floor or actually an apartment in a high rise. So they have to put that condensing unit outside and of course run the electricity, the refrigeration lines, and of course the condensate drain. Now we do operate at 220 volts 50 hertz here in Thailand, so the gauge of the wire is going to be much smaller than what you're used to with 110 volts there in the US. However, with an air conditioning unit, you'd be using 220 volts anyway. All right, now as we move along here, what we're actually looking at is some of these units are swamp coolers, evaporative cooling units. So let's take a look at some of the bigger units on the other side. I see the fans, and here are the swamp coolers. Now you're probably asking the question, is this going to work? Well, in the months of December, January, February, and March, these actually will work pretty well. What they're doing is humidifying the air and cooling it with the evaporative cooling of the water. So I fill up the tank with water, and there, for every pound of water that vaporizes, it's going to take on 970 British thermal units of heat energy. So that's quite a degree of cooling. Now that works if the air is very dry, but here in the months of May, June, July, August, and September, and October, this is not going to work. It's going to make you very, very miserable if you use this by itself. Now one thing we do see is in many of the malls, they'll have these running there in the summer months, but what happens is the mall itself is air conditioned. So what they're doing is they're just concentrating a little cooling in their area, and at the cost of humidifying the air, that the shopping center air conditioning system is going to have to remove that moisture from the air. Now here's something else interesting in Thailand. There's normally a conventional water heater that you're used to in the US, where it's a 50-gallon tank. No, we don't do that here. Instead, what happens is that they use these units to heat water, and these are actually for showers. So this is a point of use heater. Now remember that the water is going to be close to 75, 80 degrees anyway, and so if I boost it up there to 100, a little more, it's good and warm. And of course I can adjust this, and this works very well. So these are actually shower water heaters. This is a condensing unit to the a ductless split unit, and oftentimes what happens, I have a variable frequency drive for, of course, both the fan and for the compressor. So what happens is that on a cool night where I'm calling for minimum refrigeration, the fan runs at a slow speed as well as the compressor. But in the middle of a hot, humid day, it can run at high speed. So this unit is going to have to go outside, and obviously the wall mount unit is inside. Here we see a dishwasher. This is the smallest dishwasher I think I've ever seen. So here you could put in the dinner dishes. Actually, it's not that small. You put quite a few dishes in there, and then go ahead and let it go through the wash cycle, and Voila. Your dishes are nicely cleaned and sterilized. Now, how am I going to hook this up? Well, obviously, I'll probably hook it right up to the faucet, and then I'm going to have a drain here on the other side to send it off to the sink, and I suspect that this works just with the sink. All right. What happens is that here's the fitting that I put on the faucet in the sink, turning on the faucet, and then the drain is actually around the supply and drains right here, so it then drains right back into the sink. Very clever, so that way I really only have one hose to worry about.